If you ever popped a sheet pan recipe in the oven and the chicken came out rubbery, some veggies turned to mush and other veggies still look raw and everything tasted the same, then you know the struggle. We are not alone, but there is a solution. My sheet pan system, 2 assumptions, 4 factors. Doing this will unlock an infinite number of sheet pan recipes for you. Let's get after it. What up fam, and welcome back to the Fit Man Cook Kitchen. Sheet pan dinners change how we all cook. One pan, one oven, real food, sometimes fast, sometimes not, sometimes delicious, sometimes...
What the hell is even that?
But there's a method to the madness. Just like the order matters when you're juicing or blending, sure, you can toss everything in at the same time, but if you juice them in a certain order or layer the ingredients in a blender, the results are consistently better. Today, I'm teaching you the system that I use for sheet pan recipes. My goal is that you'll never need another sheet pan recipe again after this video. Let's get after it. Before moving forward, let's just make sure we're on the same page. Anything that roasts together goes on the pan. It could be protein, veggies, aromatics, or fat. They all go in the pan. For this system and for ease, grains and legumes are cooked separately. Everything else is fair game. All right, let's move on to our 2 assumptions. Assumption 1 answers the question, why are you cooking a sheet pan dinner tonight? I'm assuming it's not to constantly monitor it like it's on the stove. I'm also assuming it's not so you can add and remove different ingredients while it's cooking. No, I'm assuming that you value your time and you want something that you don't have to think about for 20 minutes. So the assumption is we use the sheet pan so everything finishes at the same time. This is one of the most common sheet pan cooking fails. One ingredient is done, the other is still raw. One is juicy, the other is leather. So to prevent that, what do? We over monitor, opening and closing the oven, pulling stuff out at different times. And then we're back at square one. It's a lot when it doesn't have to be. So we're gonna build a sheet pan with the intention that everything will finish at the same time. This is a true set it and forget it.
You followed all the instructional material, you just set it and forget it.
Assumption 2, we must address the size of your sheet pan. Now I'm assuming that you have a sheet pan or sheet pans of various sizes. Some sheet pan dinners need more room for the ingredients. If you crowd everything together, you stop roasting and you start steaming. Water gets trapped on that sheet pan, weighs everything down, and then you get mush. So here's a check before cooking. If your ingredients are touching each other and don't lie flat on the sheet pan, it's too crowded. Spread the ingredients out or use a bigger pan. And if not, just use 2 sheet pans if you have to. Spacing alone fixes more sheet pan problems than any other move. I promise you, do it. Now, the 4 factors that influence a solid sheet pan recipe. Factor 1 deals with pairing. Now we already established what you put on the pan has to cook together. So things like chicken thighs and Brussels sprouts and red onions, they are friends. They all can stand 25 to 30 minutes of cooking at 420. Now those same chicken thighs and raw potatoes, they're enemies. Chicken needs 25, the raw potatoes need 45, so their cook times are not complementary just yet. Just stay with me. At 420 degrees, ingredients are sorted into 3 buckets by cook time. The fast bucket is 10 to 20 minutes. Things like salmon, whitefish, shrimp, chicken breast tenders, lean steak like flanker sirloin, asparagus, snap peas, cherry tomatoes, and thin cut zucchini. The medium bucket is 20 to 30 minutes. These are things like boneless chicken thighs and breasts, pork tenderloins, meatballs and ground beef, Brussels sprouts that are halved, cauliflower, broccoli florets, sweet potato chunks, bell peppers, red onion wedges, and mushrooms. Now the slow bucket is 30 to 45 minutes or more. This is the bone-in chicken, whole russet potatoes, large root veggies, winter squash, whole cabbage, or cauliflower. Friends live in the same bucket, enemies live in different buckets. Okay, now how do you know which foods go in which bucket? There are 3 properties that decide which bucket an ingredient lands in. So 1 is density. Denser foods take longer for heat to reach the center. Russet potatoes, dense. Asparagus, not. Number 2, the water content. High water foods like zucchini, mushrooms, and tomatoes release moisture before they brown. Number 3 is the cell structure. Fibrous and starchy ingredients like sweet potato or butternut squash take longer to break down than tender ones like snap peas and baby spinach. Now once you understand just these 3 things, you can drop any new ingredient into a bucket without looking it up. But we can be impatient. We want the ease of a slow cooker, but the flavors of a sheet pan meal. But a sheet pan doesn't know the ingredients are different, so differences in doneness are more obvious. A slow cooker melds everything together so different ingredients don't matter. So, before anything hits the pan, you gotta ask, do these ingredients cook at the same speed? If yes, then you're set. If not, then let's fix it and force them to cook together. Which brings us to the next factor. Factor number 2 deals with size. Smaller pieces cook faster. If you've got chicken thighs and if you want potatoes with them, then you gotta cut the potatoes small enough to finish in the same amount of time. So the rule of thumb, the harder it is, the smaller it goes. So russet potatoes, we're gonna say max 2 inches. But things like sweet potatoes, I would say go to 1 inch. Sweet potatoes are way more fiber, so they need to be much smaller. First time I tried a sheet pan with some sweet potatoes, I cut the potatoes the size of the golf balls. Chicken was perfect at 25 minutes, but those potatoes were crunchy. But now, I cut everything to match the cook time before I place in the oven. The density of the ingredient will determine the size of the cut, not what looks pretty on the pan. Real quick fam, before we get back to the video, if you're getting value from this, then I want you to smash that subscribe button. It really helps to promote content like this above the noise to help others lead healthy and happy lives. And if your meal prep needs a refresh, you can grab my no salt added spice blends from spices.shop. Okay, now on to factor 3. Factor 3 is all about prep. This is what you do before anything hits the sheet pan in order to have a clean cook. One of the first things I do is pull protein out the fridge 20 to 30 minutes before I plan to cook. Cold protein cooks unevenly. It takes longer to heat up, and the outside cooks first, then the middle. So the outer part is susceptible to overcooking. Protein at room temp cooks evenly and finishes with your vegetables instead of dragging behind. So while they're coming to room temperature, pat everything dry before seasoning them. Wet ingredients will steam before they roast. We already established that. So if you want char and seared edges, you need the dry surface. Only if you need, you can par cook dense vegetables. This technically goes against the one and done method, but we're talking about 2 minutes in the microwave with a few tablespoons of water. It's barely noticeable for your time, but it's worth it for the results. And one more move before seasoning, you need a binder. A binder is what holds your seasoning to the ingredients. Dry surfaces alone won't hold it. You need something tacky for the seasoning to grab hold to. Plus, straight heat on seasoning can burn the flavor. But binders like oil can activate them. You gotta think of toasting spices in oil to release their aromatics in dishes like curry. So the 3 binders I use the most. Oil, mostly neutral because it works for any flavor profile. Mustard, because it's tangy, it builds an incredible crust. It's great with chicken and pork. Tomato paste for that umami, it caramelizes really deep, and it's great with beef and chicken thighs. Just brush it on or gently toss together in a mixing bowl. You're not coating, you're tacking or pasting it so that way your seasoning grabs hold and stays whole throughout the entire cook. Factor 4 is moisture and sauce. Every sheet pan dish is impacted by this factor if you're trying to add flavor. You gotta determine what seasoning, what sauce, and how much before the pan hits the oven. For moisture, veggies like zucchini and mushrooms release that water, and previously frozen proteins, especially fish, can release a lot of water. So if you don't account for this, then the water is going to steam everything around it and the seasoning is going to run. For veggies like zucchini, squash, eggplant, salt them on a paper towel and let them drain or sweat for 15 minutes. The salt draws out that moisture, so you're likely to see small droplets of water on the surface. Regarding texture, pick one texture goal: to char, glaze, be dry, or juicy. Then build the pan to deliver it. For the sauce, sugar-heavy sauces like barbecue or honey can burn at temps above 420. So if you toss them on at the start, they're gonna be burned up in about 15 minutes. So there are 2 ways to handle that. Use the sauce as a marinade and shake off the excess before adding it to the sheet pan, or you can hold the sauce and just brush it on the last 5 to 10 minutes. This is how flavor stays on the pan instead of pooling at the bottom and getting sticky. Okay, that's the system. 2 assumptions and those 4 factors. Now here's what it looks like in practice. Chicken thighs at room temp, Brussels sprouts halved, red onions in big wedges, olive oil, vinegar, salt, Milan herb and garlic blend. Spaced out on the pan, 420 degrees, 25 minutes, and done. There is no need for a full recipe. If you know the system, you can just ad lib. Okay fam, that is it for today's video. I hope that you found it useful and that you enjoyed it. If you did, then please like and subscribe, and remember to share this channel with others you think could benefit from the content. You can grab my spices at spices.shop and more sheet pan recipes at fitmancook.com. Thanks again for watching and supporting. I'll see you on the next one.